no, señor. 1, 2, 3.
Por muy líder de Motorhead que seas, es inevitable equivocarse de vez en cuando, como cuando Lemmy cantó Ace of Spades mientras la banda tocaba Overkill. Otra cosa que puede salir mal en un concierto es que el público no coopere, como cuando a la gente le da por lanzar cosas al escenario. Mirad cuánto le gustaba a Lemmy que le tiren porquerías mientras toca.
The audience was throwing bottles and cans and stuff. I don't like that. I really don't like it. I hate it. Yeah, you understand? So don't do it to me or I'll come in the audience and twist your head off.
Motorhead tiene la reputación de haber sido la banda más ruidosa del mundo. Ruidosa en el mejor de los sentidos, claro.
I wanna hear the pain, you know, like my voice.
La potencia desbocada de Lemmy Kilmister y sus chicos llevó al periodista Scott Cohen a publicar el reportaje Motorhead is the loudest band on earth. Sucedió en el 86, cuando los 130 decibelios de metaliciosa violencia sonora de Motorhead provocaron daños físicos en el teatro de variedades de Cleveland. Motorhead tocó tan alto que literalmente se cargaron el lugar a base de puro sonido. Y si hay algo icónico dentro de ese sonido son la voz y el bajo de Lemmy Kilmister, quien le enseñó a toda una generación que el bajo no tenía por qué ser un instrumento secundario. Mítico también es el gigantesco amplificador que ha acompañado a la banda, el More Than One. Todos recordamos a Lemmy por su presencia en el escenario, melena al viento con el bajo a modo de arma cual francotirador del averno musical, o con su sombrero y botas en su época más veterana. Pero además de todo eso hay una infinidad de apariciones de Kilmister en televisión, como cuando presentó el programa Headbangers Ball.
Heavy metal news. Well, here we go. Tesla like to play hard-edged rock and roll, and right now they've got a lot of people listening to their debut album. Mechanical Resonance, I believe it's called, is a hit and audiences love them and live.
And now the tour dates.
These are they.
Chicago, Illinois, the Vic Theater, very fine theaters we all know. Los Angeles, PA, California, Berkeley, California, Boulevard. Long Beach, California, San Francisco, California, Santa Clara, California, one step beyond. And that's it. This is time to say...
It's goodbye. We've got to go.
Goodbye.
O cuando los fans le enviaban cartas para pedirle consejo.
I just got out of a mental hospital. Oh, good. Well, at least you got out. While I was in there, I broke up with him. Everyone thinks he's psychotic, but I know different. I see. The deal is this. If he is a psychopath, he'll kill you.
O cuando formó parte del programa Never Mind the Buzzcocks.
It's not an insult.
Why not?
Everything's why not with you, isn't it, you crazy man?
That's because I'm so democratic.
You can't smoke, by the way.
I'm not smoking.
Right.
Lemmy también protagonizó algunos divertidos anuncios para televisión.
Sausage and tomato ketchup for me, tomato ketchup for Mental, and chicken and barbecue sauce for Crusher. I don't drink much, and I never will.
Pero la televisión no es el único medio audiovisual donde hemos visto a Lemmy. Míticas son sus apariciones en películas.
You guys like music? Check these guys out.
Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
Lemmy.
God. Wrong, dickhead. Trick question. Lemmy is God.
There's something I gotta tell you.
What?
I was a geek in high school. I had really short hair. I played Dungeons and Dragons. I understand if you don't love me anymore.
I played D&D too.
Yeah.
I was editor of the school magazine.
Yeah.
y también en videojuegos como este.
Why didn't you say so? I hate that bastard. Let's see now.
Y como curiosidad, hay un videojuego de 1992 llamado Motorhead, donde podemos controlar al mismísimo Lemmy para repartir trompazos a golpe de bajo para limpiar las calles de raperos y demás no metaliciosa gentuza. Ojo a la fase de bonus bebiendo cerveza. Por cierto, que si te interesa el tema de apariciones de músicos en cine, series y animación, tienes este vídeo en el canal. También conocido como Warpig, Snaggletooth B. Motorhead es el nombre completo de la mascota de la banda. La criatura nació cuando el artista Joe Petaño y Lemmy se conocieron en los 70, cuando Kilmister aún tocaba en su banda anterior, Hawkwind. Petaño no es precisamente un cualquiera, y es que además de Motorhead, durante su carrera trabajó con otros titanes de la talla de Pink Floyd o Led Zeppelin. El artista se inspiró en las calaveras de un gorila, un lobo y un perro, además de unos cuernos gigantes, para dar forma a la criatura que aparecería en la portada del álbum debut de Motorhead en 1977. Lemmy aportó el casco, las cadenas y los pinchos, dándole al mítico monstruo el toque definitivo que todos reconocemos. Motorhead es considerada una de las bandas más influyentes en toda la historia del metal, aunque curiosamente en alguna entrevista Lemmy afirmó que prefería que su música se definiera como rock más que como metal. En cualquier caso, la influencia de Motorhead y Kilmister sobre generaciones y generaciones de rockeros y metaleros ha sido descomunal, como muestra la infinidad de leyendas que han dejado clara su veneración absoluta por Lemmy Kilmister.
Lemmy was opening up for Ozzy.
This is like 81?
It was the original lineup with Filthy and Eddie Clark, and it was one of the loudest shows I think I'd ever been to.
Most people kind of had this stunned look on their faces after Motorhead was finished and just like, where's Ozzy?
Still to this day, it's very memorable as being one of the loudest shows I've ever seen. And it was really noisy. It was just like loud and static. Now, it just might, I've seen him a bunch of times. I've never heard him sound exactly like that. But that made a huge impression on me because it was just so almost violent.
Fruto de esa absoluta veneración, no han sido pocos los músicos que han querido compartir escenario con Lemmy, en parte como sentido homenaje a la leyenda, pero también por cumplir el sueño de poder tocar con un mito de mitos.
The one and only Lemmy Kilmister.
Y más allá de su admiradísimo legado musical, es que todo el mundo le quería. Escuchemos a algunas leyendas hablar de él.
A surprise for Rob Halford, who is in the house this morning representing.
2 surprises? No.
Hello, Len. Hello, Rob. Let me hear your old buddy. Question. Since you have got one of the most acrobatic voices in the history of mankind, and I've never heard it fail all the gigs we've done together, what do you do to grease it? What do you do to keep it glowing and fresh? All right. Another question. Number 2 in the present series. What is your most embarrassing moment not involving the motorcycle?
I love you, Lemmy. Everybody in Priest, he's you know, there is only one Lemmy.
Oh, yeah.
And there's Lemmy smoking his cigarette with some Jack and Coke on
Asking
the table.
you how you keep your pipes.
and Lemmy's got the most amazing voice. Talking about me, Lemmy's got the voice in rock and roll. I think rock and roll is that voice, you know.
It's Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead, my favorite band.
Joseph.
Hi, hey, Lemmy.
Lemmy, good to see you.
Hello.
What are you up to? You on tour with Motorhead?
We're on tour with Motorhead with Ozzy Osbourne.
How do you guys know each other?
So they came to London and I thought, well, they look like me and they're playing shorthead music too, so we were the 2 crossover bands between long hair and punk.
And actually, you know, like, you know, there's nobody like either of our bands. Motorhead never let me down, you know, and you know, I feel
that goes back to you.
You know, I feel they're the most exciting band besides ourselves.
I know.
Two living legends right here on MTV's 120 Minutes. Stick around for brand new videos from Suzanne Vega and the Gin Blossoms, plus Morrissey Live. We'll be right back.
Won't that be great? Yes, it will.
We know that you mean that sincerely, Lemmy.
No, I don't.
Lemmy is the epitome of rock and roll. You know, he's always lived a wild lifestyle. It's the whole thing, sex, drugs and rock and roll, and he really lived that life. They toured with us many, many times, probably 30 times over the periods. There was never any food. It was always a bottle of Jack Daniels, or 2 bottles of Jack Daniels, 2 bottles of vodka, a couple of cases of beer. I mean, and that was them. You know, that's the way they were. In all the different incarnations of Sabbath, from the Ozzy period, Ronnie James Dio, Ian Gillan, it was always a Motorhead with us, you know.
Cuando a una figura tan querida y admirada le llega su hora, es normal que se acumulen los homenajes, como estos 2 pedazos de tributos audiovisuales. Otro mítico homenaje a la memoria de Lemmy es el que se puede ver en el Hellfest en Francia, donde se levantó una enorme estatua suya que incluso contiene una parte de las cenizas de Lemmy. Y como antes decía, si se le recuerda con tanto cariño no es solo por su enorme legado musical, es que además Lemmy era un tipo divertido, ingenioso y que siempre estaba de broma.
Ta-da! Haha, you know, fuck you.
Aquí os dejo una cariñosa recopilación de pequeños momentos que Lemmy nos regaló durante toda su vida.
No, señor. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man. Useless. Hey. It's very good in Germany for us. We got to in the charts in Germany. My God, you know. So that's all right. Yes, Dankeschön, Deutschland. Schatzi. You really want to be like me? Jesus. Listen, be an accountant. They've got all my money. Hello, French persons. My name is Lemmy. It's not a French name. I know it sounds French, but I'm afraid it's not. Hello, you sons of bitches. Hello. I laugh at you. Hello, everybody. Hello. This is Lemmy from Motorhead. Who else, right?
This is Jack Cousteau from Motorhead. This is the underwater version of heavy metal. So heavy, I mean, look at the Titanic. That was heavy metal, bottom of the sea, same as we are.
Hello, boys and girls. Uncle Rosser here. You remember me, don't you? I haven't driven since 1966. That's when I give up driving.
Why?
Because it's too stressful and it costs a lot of money. The way I drive.
I find it very similar to England. Stop doing that, else I want to nut you.
What is better than a schnitzel?
The what?
A schnitzel, German.
2 schnitzels. You know, answer the phone, boy. If it's for me, tell him I'm in the bath.
Hey, Lemmy, nice to meet you. Thanks for sitting down with me.
That's okay, I was sitting down anyway.
You'll give our audience a good wish for this evening?
Yes, good wishes for this evening, everybody in the audience out there. And I hope that you all become millionaires and that you all marry Miss America and live happily forever after in Disneyland without getting old or dying, okay?
What would you like to have a VIP pass for?
The Second World War.
Una de las historias más conmovedoras relacionadas con Lemmy es el emotivo regalo de despedida con el que obsequió a algunas de las personas más cercanas a él dentro del mundo de la música. Tras el fallecimiento de Kilmister, se envió una bala con parte de sus cenizas a personal de Motorhead, además de íntimos compañeros de profesión como Rob Halford de Judas Priest, Ozzy Osbourne, James Hetfield y Lars Ulrich de Metallica o Doro Pesch. Rob Halford habló así sobre ese último regalo: es el tipo de locura que a Lemmy le hubiera encantado hacer, que haya pensado en mí y que me tuviera dentro del pequeño círculo de amigos que recibirían una parte de sus cenizas. Tener una parte de Lemmy físicamente conmigo en mi casa es algo mágico. Ozzy Osbourne también se acordó de su amigo Lemmy. Pienso en Lemmy todo el tiempo, era un tipo genial. Me decía cosas como: ese álbum que acabas de grabar es una basura o me gusta ese otro álbum. Las últimas palabras que me dijo fueron: podría haber vivido bastante más tiempo y haberme cuidado, pero viví mi vida como quería y no tengo de qué arrepentirme. Y tan admirado y querido era Lemmy que para algunos esto no fue suficiente. James Hetfield decidió literalmente llevar a Lemmy dentro de su cuerpo. Hetfield utilizó las cenizas que recibió a modo de tinta para tatuarse con ellas el icónico as de picas que da nombre a uno de los temas más míticos de Motorhead. Por cierto, que si quieres saber cómo Metallica conoció a Lemmy, tienes este vídeo en el canal. Las muestras de cariño hacia Lemmy tuvieron su momento más sentimental cuando multitud de leyendas se reunieron para darle el último adiós. Aquí están algunos de los momentos más emotivos.
He kept saying he didn't regret a single minute of his life. He told me all the time that he had the perfect life. I mean, to be touring and entertain people and see the smiles on people's faces.
And I remember when I decided, after years of struggling, that I was going to get, I got sober. And the first time I saw him, and I didn't have a flask of Jack Daniels in my jacket, because that's how we used to always greet each other. He was actually very disappointed. It's the only thing I felt bad about getting sober. His music and his personality and all that stuff will last forever, so God bless.
Over the years, we've had so many amazing times with Lemmy and Motorhead. We always look forward to seeing the lads when we kicked off working together, as we knew well in advance there would be more than one Lemmy moment or a Phil King of Comedy Campbell event. When I was in the presence of Lord Lemmy, I always felt a bit overwhelmed. Admiration mainly. Here is a man that lived rock and roll life on his own terms. A true rock and roll maverick.
In 1999, I got a phone call asking for a quote. Motorhead was putting together a live record, the Everything Louder Than Everything Else record. They were looking for quotes from guys in bands that were influenced by Motorhead, and just kind of sat around all day thinking about it and thought back to 1980 when I bought my first Motorhead record. I bought Ace of Spades, knew nothing about the band, and I was just looking at this album cover thinking, God, this has got to be good. These guys look like some tough motherfuckers. Take the record home and put it on headphones in my little tiny room in my mom's apartment, and Ace of Spades opens the record, and you're 15 years old hearing that for the first time, and blows your brains out. And I listened to the record probably 3 times, front to back, just staring at that album cover, staring at it the whole time, thinking, who the hell are these 3 Mexicans and how do they play so fast? They look like banditos. I jokingly email that quote. Well, that ends up being the quote on the record. Turns out Lem loved it.
Became successful enough to where I finally reached a point where I could have some input into what my entrance music was. And when I had the opportunity to participate in creating my music, I wanted it to sound like Motorhead. At a certain point in time, they just couldn't get the sound right, and our people came to me and they said, what do you want? I said, I want Motorhead. And they said, well, why don't we just ask Motorhead? And I said, because I didn't know that was an option. I remember going to him one time after getting beaten again, and I gave him a hug, and he looked right at me and he goes, man, you suck. He said, you can't win a match to save your life. I don't know why I come and see you. And then he grabbed me by the back of my neck and he said, that's why you're perfect for Motorhead.
There was a moment a couple years ago, I needed Lemmy to do his voiceover for an animated short I put together called Talica Parking Lot. Yeah, but I need a ride, come pick me up. I said, okay, Lemmy, I got a surprise for you. So I have this Buick 64 lowrider Riviera, beautiful, beautiful car, but it wasn't running right? The starter's not working, needed a tune-up. So I had a mechanic show up earlier that morning, 9 a.m., and I'm proud. I show up at Lemmy's apartment about 20 minutes before I'm supposed to be there, and Lemmy comes out. We're looking at the car, he's complimenting it, he loves it. We get in the car, and I'm sitting there, yeah, I got this. I put the keys in, car doesn't start. And I'm like, oh my God. And Lemmy's sitting there with a cigarette, he's not saying anything. And he's saying something, all this. And then finally, he gets his word and he says, he said, let it sit for a while. And so we get out of the car and he's like standing outside, he's smoking a cigarette, he's looking around the neighborhood, and he's giving me sort of a history lesson on his street. You know, Charlie Chaplin used to hang out there, Mary Pickford there, and then right in the middle of his story, he says, now try it. So we get in the car, and sure enough, that puppy started right up. And then he said, see, I told you it was flooded.
34 years ago, I threw up all over myself. That's not particularly significant because of the throwing up. In my late teens, unfortunately, I threw up quite often. But it is significant because of where I threw up. I was in Lemmy's hotel room. When they came to the U.S. for the first time in '81 supporting you, Ozzy, I was obviously more than thrilled and was going to follow them all over California for the whole week. There I was literally following Motorhead around, driving behind their tour bus, the biggest fanboy on the planet. Unlike some of the rock stars I'd met in Copenhagen years earlier, Motorhead, and particularly Lemmy, embraced me with open arms, no quick picture, and off you go. It was a completely different attitude.
I saw Lemmy by himself in the corner on a video game, and it blew my mind. He's my hero. So I walked up and I said, excuse me, Lemmy, I don't want to bother you, but you've influenced me so much. You're my musical hero. I'm a musician. I play in the Foo Fighters, and I was in Nirvana. And he looked up from the video game, and the first thing he ever said to me, he said, hey, I'm sorry about what happened to your friend. And in that moment, he went from being this gunslinging, whiskey-drinking, badass motherfucking rock star to being this gunslinging, whiskey-drinking, badass motherfucking rock star with a heart. And over the years, I have great stories of going to his apartment or going to the Rainbow and ordering 2 Jack and Cokes, and the waitress brings 2 Jack and Cokes and his mail.
Si no eres especialmente conocedor de la vida de Lemmy, es probable que no sepas que en su juventud trabajó como personal de la banda de Jimi Hendrix. Lemmy incluso fue compañero de piso de Noel Redding, bajista de la banda. Esto dijo Lemmy sobre Jimi Hendrix en una entrevista con Rolling Stone. Dormía en el suelo del roadie de Jimi Hendrix, que compartía un apartamento con Noel Redding. Así que siempre que necesitaban un par de manos extra, ahí estaba yo. No es que me dieran el trabajo por tener algún talento ni nada, pero así vi tocar a Jimmy un montón, como 2 veces cada noche durante 3 meses. Cuando tocaba era mágico, lo veías y el espacio y el tiempo se detenían. Cuando terminaba de tocar teníamos que reparar los pedales porque los había pisoteado, el escenario lleno de pedacitos, y teníamos que ir reuniéndolos para volver a ponerlos juntos. Ese tiempo que pasaron juntos es mucho más que una simple anécdota, y según Lemmy, Hendrix le influiría hasta el punto de cambiar de instrumento. Jimmy me dijo que nunca iba a llegar a ser un buen guitarrista. Eso le haría pensar sobre darle un giro a su carrera y tal vez dejar la guitarra. Cuando sucedió esto, supongo que tuve suerte. Me uní a Hawkwind para el puesto de guitarrista y el vocalista decidió que sería la guitarra solista. Entonces el bajista no se presentó a una actuación porque era un concierto gratuito y no le iban a pagar. Se dejó el bajo y el equipo en la furgoneta, en plan, róbame la actuación, así que se la robé. Amigo metalero, espero que te haya gustado el vídeo. Si quieres ver más recopilaciones de momentos y claves, tienes más en el canal, como este de Iron Maiden o una lista de reproducción con todas las recopilaciones, incluyendo momentazos de Axl Rose, Dave Mustaine o AC/DC, entre otros.